Welcome back to Elevation Perspective. My name is Mark, joined tonight with Dan Quinones and Frank Tropiano. Talking Mets, it's been a few weeks since we've dove into this. Not a lot of crazy breaking news, which I think is probably a good thing for the best. Everyone, knock on wood, right now, for the most part, is healthy. We have a few spring training battles to kind of break down here. We'll start off with tonight in the World Baseball Classic. We're all excited for Nolan McLean's start. Did not go to plan. Looked great in the first inning, then kind of got touched up by Team Italy there in the second inning. Dan, I'll let you start off there. I know you're the big WBC guy here. What'd you think?
He gave up two hits. They were both hit well. Uh, I mean, Kyle Teal's a bowler. I don't know who that second dude is, but he turned on a ball that was up and in. I mean, tip the cap on that one. But that's the thing. In a short game and a short start, like gets magnified. But the back like, oh, he gave up two hits. They were just both loud hits.
Yeah, he's throwing 98 with a crazy curveball. I'm not too worried
Yeah,
about
no, that's
how he looked.
if there's a game where you want to see the stuff and don't worry about the result as a Met fan, this is it.
Frank, you ready to pull all the guys back now and start the season?
I need Soto's team to be eliminated. I need the USA to be eliminated. Do we have any others out there right now? Who's floating around? Lindor's home.
Vientos is working hard for Nicaragua, so
What's
Yeah,
he
they're
doing?
they're
Is he
done.
just DHing?
he played a little third
No,
too.
he's Nicaragua's not a good team. I don't think they've ever won a game in the history of the tournament,
Okay,
like
so
let
whatever.
alone
He's
this year.
he's on
So
his way
yeah,
home then. So I
he's
mean,
just
like, yeah,
vibing
let's
down
just
there.
listen. If you like the WBC, I'm not bashing you. You know what I mean? Like that's not my I'm not in it to tell anyone what they should or should not like. It's a lot of fun. The teams obviously have a good time, so good for them. I need to see the Mets have success. That's just me personally. I just want to see the Mets have success. It's every sport for me where I'd much rather, I think hockey's the one sport where international play really does transcend the leagues, and I still would much rather see the pro team win. But there, I could see it. Here, I'm just like, let's just get healthy. It's just too early for everyone to be going 100%. Like the great thing about spring is they get to take it nice and easy and rev up, and it just feels like are they doing that here? I think that's the plan, but I think when you're in the game and these games don't count as much as MLB seasons, but they count more than spring training, so it's a little tough. So
All right, back to Mets camp now. We have probably one positional battle going on here with the right field situation. I know DH kind of also, and then maybe a couple of relief spots, but most positions are kind of locked in here. It's Carson Benge, Mike Tauchman, MJ Melendez, and Beatty to an extent playing out for right field. Benge has looked phenomenal. He had the endorsement in the preseason from David Stearns. He really likes what he saw. Dan, I'll let you go first here. What do you think happens here? Do you think Bench has this spot? What do you think happens with Talkman and Melendez? The floor is yours.
I think we can all agree from the beginning it seemed pretty obvious the Mets wanted Bench to go out and take this job. And I know there's still a couple weeks left, anything can happen. It really looks like he went and did that.
Yeah.
He had another good game. He fits into right field so well because I mean he was a pitcher in college. Like we know he has the arm for right field. It's just it feels like everything went exactly how the Mets could have wanted it to go with Bench. He's hit the ball well. He's played good defense. Hell, he could have been our center fielder this year, so right field shouldn't be an issue. With the other two, I feel like Talkman probably fits better as the bench bat than Melendez does in this situation. I like them both, and they both also played really well in the spring, so it's tough to be like someone's just out of a job entirely here. But if Benj is going to be the right fielder, which he rightfully should, I think Talkman as a bench bat would make sense. And then Melendez, if he's willing to go to AAA, like I think he's worth keeping around, but who's to say he's willing to stick around in AAA?
They can't all fit though, right? The three lefty corner bats, they can't all make this
It
roster.
I can't see it unless at the last second they find a trade for like a bait, probably Vientos more than Beatty because Beatty is more utility. Unless they open up a DH spot, but also if you're not high on Vientos, then there's nothing these two guys have done in their careers that makes you say let's hand it over to them. So I
Talkman's had
can't
a
see a
good
world
career.
where
Talkman's a good player.
he is a good player, but at the same time, his upside in his mid to late 30s isn't it's not worth it.
That's valid. Frank, what do you think here?
yeah, I mean, I think you just look at the names there, and I don't know. It's hard to sell me on anybody that isn't Benj right now. I don't think it's going to be a question. Like, unless he falls off a cliff in the next 2 weeks, I think he has to be. You can't sit there as an organization and tell me, all right, we had a kid that played phenomenally in spring training, but we're going to send him down. And you're telling me that we're trying to win, and the alternative are Melendez and Talkman. Like it that to me is if we're trying to win, then Benj is going to be the guy. Like I said, unless something major happens here in the next 2 weeks where he just looks like he all of a sudden is just striking out every at bat. Like you gotta give him a try. You can't be cautious, especially the deals that they signed. We have Bo Bichette for 1 year. We don't know. Hopefully, we have him for another year after that, but we don't know. You know what I mean? We have Freddie Peralta for 1 year.
Yeah.
We don't. So do it. You got to. Those guys are pros. The other two, right? They're MLB pros. So whichever one you put on the bench, if the kid struggles, they'll be ready to take their place. You gotta go all out. You have 1 year of this lineup, 1 year of this rotation, and then we'll go from there because it seems like that's what they want to do.
I think that's totally valid. 1 week ago, I would have said I think they're going to start bench in AAA just because of a roster asset situation there where at the time, at spring training, it's hard to like really take the results and run with them. But Melendez had like a two-homer game. He looks really good. So in my head, I was like, all right, they'll give Talkman right field. Melendez will be on the bench. They'll start bench in AAA. I know he didn't play great there last year, but he had good peripheral numbers. Maybe they just want to get him a little more experience. But now I'm seeing Bench just play great in almost every single game of spring training. We know Stearns gave him the endorsement preseason. He traded Brandon Nimmo essentially to open up this spot for him. And I agree with you, Frank. I think this is a situation where you kind of have to go for it with the 1 year Freddie Peralta, possibly 1 year Bo Bichette. And Benj is your highest upside play. I think Talkman's really safe and solid. Melendez is more of a lottery ticket, but Benj has a chance to be a star. So I think you play the upside here and you give Carson Benge the first month out of the gates. If he struggles, you can always put him down in AAA and figure it out. But I think he should get the first crack here.
So one thing I want to add, since you guys know I'm the minor league guy. Watching Benji in Brooklyn last year, he does everything. Like there's nothing that like he's not like a crazy power hitter. He's not super fast, but he's good at everything. And he was really good in Brooklyn. He went to Double A, he got better. Triple A was a short sample and the numbers weren't there, but basically everyone said like the way he was hitting the ball, he was crushing it. Just in a short sample, just ran into like bad luck. It feels like he's getting better at every challenge.
I'm actually happy you said that because it's pretty crazy to think that he was in Brooklyn last year and now we're talking about him as a starting right fielder.
Yeah, and he deserves it.
Yeah. So now Carson Bench is really excited. Dan, I texted you today about him. I said he's the prospect I'm most excited about
Mm.
for a long time. I have not been this high on a prospect, this excited about a prospect. Maybe Conforto. I'm trying to think back because like the pitchers are kind of harder. Like,
Hmm.
when was the last like big time prospect we were really like juiced up for?
Probably Alvarez
Okay,
when he
Alvarez
was
works
because
too.
like the power was. At one point it was MLB pipeline put him at number one in the sport. It's like the power is written like we see it now. The power is very
Yeah, he
real for
came
him.
up what at the end of 24 to try to save
22,
the season.
22.
22, yeah, not
Yeah,
24,
yeah,
22
yeah. Gotcha.
when
If
things
I
were
But yeah,
good.
remember
he came up.
correctly, Pete was crushing the cover off the ball in AAA too, and the whole thing was like that they weren't bringing him up. But I don't know if he had the hype or if he just started performing that year and everyone was like, "Oh, this guy's looks like he can all of a sudden be good."
Yeah, I don't think he was ever
He
touted the way
was.
these other guys were.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was definitely like a high prospect, like a top 100 guy, but he wasn't like the way Beatty and Alvarez got to top 10. Or
yeah.
like Beatty got not Beatty, like Alvarez got to number one. Like I think they were obviously Pete was like hell, like the franchise leader in home runs, but I think Alvarez and Beatty both hit hype levels as minor leaguers that Pete didn't quite get to.
All right, let's move on now. My next topic I want to talk about here is the Atlanta Braves. I want to ask a question, propose a question here. Are their NL East chances over before the season started? Now, listen, they have had a ton of injuries. They had a ton of injuries last year, too, and it caught up to them, of course. They had a really terrible season, but they're already down Schwellenbach, Waldrip, Joey Wentz, for whatever that's worth. The lineup, of course, Profar got popped again for steroids. They lost Kim, their shortstop. And it's more so the pitching. I just look at this team and I'm like, we're really banking on Chris Sale to go 180 innings. We're banking on Reynaldo Lopez to come back from shoulder surgery and be great. Grant Holmes, like to me, I look at this group and I'm like, they're not going to hold up for 162.
I don't want to rule them out as a playoff team just because expanded playoffs, the
Yeah.
NL is not as deep as it was maybe like a decade ago. But yeah, with what the Mets are up to now, Zach Wheeler is going to miss a lot less time than I originally thought. I thought he was supposed to miss like a month, maybe two, and apparently it's only going to be a few weeks.
Yeah.
So it's hard to put them anywhere higher than third right now.
Yeah, and I worded it that way intentionally because I could definitely see them being wild card relevant.
Mhm.
But with their current situation, and again, I feel like they really dropped the ball not adding pitching to this group. Of course, you don't know that Schwellenbach's elbow is going to go out, but you kind of did because he had a broken elbow last year. So to not back up this team, I feel like that was a really poor job by Anthopoulos, the general manager for the Braves. They could definitely be a wild card relevant team, but you can't look at this group and say they're going to beat out the Mets and the Phillies. Frank, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, listen, in terms of where I would put them right now in the rankings, I'd put them three. To say that it's impossible for them to win the division, I think that would be foolish. And the reason why I'm saying that is because they still have Acuna, they still have Olsen, like they still have some core guys there that are going to, you mentioned Chris Sale. Sure, do I expect him to be as dominant as he has been these past few seasons? Maybe not. Do I expect the drop off to be that great? He isn't. I don't think that would be fair either. You know what I mean? So they have these pieces in place. Maybe they have a few kids that work out, and then all of a sudden they're right back in. They didn't get stripped away of everything. You know what I mean? This is not a situation where they've gotten everything taken away from them. And I think we've just seen too many things where teams we thought weren't going to be so good be good. Teams that we thought were going to be great not be so great. In if I'm speaking of just the Mets in the last 3 seasons, right? Like the last 3 seasons have been backwards expectations for the Mets, right? We were supposed to be good 3 years ago. We winded up missing the playoffs. That was a disaster year with Scherzer and Verlander. The year after that, they're supposed to be sneaky. Maybe they sneak into a wild card spot. They made it to the freaking NL uh, championship series, and then last year they're supposed to continue by adding Juan Soto, and they missed the playoffs with the Cincinnati Reds. Right, so I can't sit here with a team with proven guys and count them out. And it's going to be the same thing with the Phillies, although I know the Phillies are just a little bit different, but it just feels like their talent got reduced. But I will say that if I'm ranking them right now, I'm putting them third. So I'm not counting them out. I am putting them third because of injuries.
It's all valid, Frank, but to me, I think Bryce Elder and Carlos Carrasco are both pitching a lot for this team, which is
And
insane.
listen, at a certain point, you do lose too much, but it's just we're not in the season yet, so I can't judge if they've lost too much. You know what I mean? Like I'm with you. Like at a certain we Dan especially says it all the time, right? The Mets lost too much last year, right? So at a certain point, that does happen. The Mets pitching just could not get healthy and stay in front of itself. The bullpen was pitching every single night, right? At a certain point, it does catch up, but it's so much different because we're not in the season yet. So we got to see the guys that step up in those places. But yes, right now it does feel like they're the third team and they're on the outs, and this feels like a more Mets Phillies thing. But again, I got to see some games before I can make any like, oh, they're definitely out of it.
All right, let's wrap up. We have two fun exercises here. Frank, we'll start with you first. What Met has the most home runs this season, not including Juan Soto or Francisco Lindor? So you can't use the two-star obvious players who are both going to have 30 plus. Tell me the Met that will have the most home runs besides him.
I wish you wouldn't have started with me. Um, okay, I'm just going around. I'm going around the diamond right now.
There's probably
Uh,
like two or three solid choices here.
my mind is taking me in a lot of different directions here. Honestly, I'm gonna say Brett Beatty has
Oh,
the most home runs, not of any Met, because I'm just so desperate for one of our kids to like take a real step. You know what I mean? But Beatty is my pick, but I was also leaning towards somebody else who was maybe my
because you
just.
picked Brett Beatty, you went a little bit off the board there. Give me a prediction. How many home runs are you looking at?
I'm gonna say 33 home runs for Brett Beatty.
Wow, that would be an all-star. That would be great.
Maybe he's a late bloomer.
Uh,
Maybe he doesn't make the All Star team and he hits them late. I don't know.
Listen, it's in the it's in the range of outcomes. I'm probably looking more in the mid 20s for him, but if he's 33 breakout, that'd be incredible. Dan, give me the Met that will have the most home runs, not named Juan Soto or Francisco Lindor.
So when you initially sent this text, my brain went to Francisco Alvarez, and then I thought Frank's gonna say Alvarez. Let me come up with something else for the sake of having variety. So I'm gonna go with Luis Robert.
Nice.
I think putting him in a lineup where everyone around him is so talented, you can't just throw him dirt balls all the time and just be like, all right, I can't insult the White Sox teammates because the next best guy was Mike Tauchman, and we don't want to do that here. But yeah, it was a team that you go into Chicago, you're facing the White Sox, you say, don't let Luis Robert beat you. That's a problem. Now you look at the Mets lineup and you're like, I guess we got to go after Luis Robert because there's just so many guys. So I'm saying this year teams go after him. We see that power come back because we know the talent is there. It's just can he stop swinging at bad pitches and chasing and I think this Mets team is going to put him in a position where you kind of have to go after him. So I'll give you 31 from Luis Robert this year.
Okay. I mean, listen, Robert is the ultimate boom or bust. He has all the upside in the world. He could hit 40, he could hit 10. Like either are very possible, but I like the pick. I'll take the free square then, since neither of you took Francisco Alvarez. Just 24 years old still. Today he hit a ball over the center field batter's eye. We saw how great he was when he came up at the second half of last year when he entered his demotion. He's been weird with the pitching coach. Chavez kind of messed with him. We've seen the power this guy has. If he can just play 130 games, I feel like he's going to hit 35 home runs. That's my prediction. 35 home runs. Francisco Alvarez. I think he starts off as like the six hitter for this team. He wraps up as like the four hitter, and I think it's time. I think, Frank, you said it's time with Beatty. I think it's time with Alvarez. He has shown us so many flashes in his short career. Just 24 years old. I'll take Francisco Alvarez.
Small sample.
Just so we're doing like
Mhm.
the whole like guessing thing, just
Oh,
to
we need a number.
like no. Like to just show the audience what we just put out there. I put out there a guy who can't stay in the majors consistently. Dan put out there a guy who cannot stay healthy consistently. And Mark put out a guy who cannot stay in the majors or stay healthy consistently. Right. And obviously I'm joking a little bit because Alvarez had the
Mhm.
one stint last year, but it's just like it just goes to show you that it's such a wild like conversation. But there's a lot of guys that I feel like if you told me they had the second most home runs on the team, I wouldn't be surprised. And I think mostly is because I think they're all going to be around the same range.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean,
Mhm.
they have the two superstars who I didn't let us pick. Bichette's not a power hitter, and then a lot of these guys are kind of in that 25-ish neighborhood. I wouldn't be surprised if the three players we just talked about all have 25 home runs. But so it's kind of I don't know.
How
It's
many did Polanco finish with last year?
26.
20? 26. There you go. There's another guy
He's right there.
who it
It's a
could
good
be.
year.
If all three of our guys finish with 25 and he finishes with 26, then he wins this conversation, right? So
I think Benge has an outside shot of being in the low to mid 20s if everything breaks right for him. I mean, if Vientos is good
Mm.
again somehow, and it's the guy, there's a lot
yeah,
going on.
yeah.
Let's switch over to the pitchers now. Dan, we'll start with you first. We're not going to do a specific category, but what Met pitcher has the best season? You can't say Freddie Peralta or Nolan McLean.
Oh,
Ooh,
that's mean.
okay. You know what? I've been the biggest believer the whole time. I kind of have to say Kodai Senga.
You do. You do.
Yeah, I think his upside is as good as literally anyone on the team. It's just a matter of putting it all together health wise. Because I mean, the unfortunate thing with him seems like if he's slightly off, like you're gonna know. But when he's on, he's as good as anybody in the league.
He was hitting like 98 the other day in spring.
I saw that and I was like, I wasn't expecting that at this point in the spring, but I'm all in. I love Kodai. He's a project, but when he's right, I mean, we saw it in 23. When he's right, he's nasty. And hell, we saw it for half of 24. Like, sure, he didn't have all the numbers because he's always had the walk issues, but like batting average against, he was like literally Skubal, Skeens, Senga. Like people just don't square him up. So if he can stay healthy, I think he has as good as upside as anyone on the team, including Peralta and McLean.
Okay. Frank, the floor is yours. What pitcher do you have having the best season? Not named
My
Freddie Peralta.
my heart is telling me Sean Manaea because I want my tribal chief to be back and pitching in his best form. But my head is telling me that Clay Holmes can build on what he started last season. He obviously got gassed at the end of the year. It was a little unfortunate, but he made the transition from reliever to starter. I think Clay Holmes can build on that, and I think I wouldn't be shocked if if he was our third best pitcher, or even our second best pitcher. I would be shocked if he was our best pitcher, because I'm just really high on Peralta on a contract year. But I think that if I had to answer that question right now, it's gonna be Clay Holmes for me.
I was thinking about going like way off the board and pulling out like a Christian Scott or a Jonah Tong. That feels unauthentic just because of like what we're currently looking at. I'm gonna say Sean Mania. Frank, you kind of started to lead
Mm.
into that. We saw how great he was in 2024. We know all the tale as old as time. He changed the arm slot to mimic Chris Sale. He was outstanding. He got hurt probably because of it. I don't foresee him ever being that good again, that 3-3 true ace guy, but I think there's definitely an outcome here where he bounces back, he finds health, and he's our confident game three starter of a playoff series. I definitely see that world. I feel like we're comfortable, we're confident in that. He didn't have surgery this offseason, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing or not. He still has those bone chips in his elbow, which I'm not a doctor, but it doesn't really sound great to me. But he says he feels good, he's healthy. I think he's definitely going to be really, really useful. I just hope we see kind of that like number two-ish upside again that we saw in 2024.
Are we disrespecting Dave Peterson, who has gotten who we are
Mhm.
hoping that everyone improves? Peterson is a guy that you could make the argument that has improved every season that he's been in baseball pretty much, right? Are we disrespecting him? Can he not take another step, or do we
It's
think that
possible. I just think we know what he is. I think his
Yeah,
floor is so high, but the ceiling isn't.
I was about to
is
say the same thing. I feel like he's like low ceiling, low floor kind of deal. Like we know he's going to be a good pitcher, but we don't really expect it to like really jump that much higher at this point.
And Frank, I don't want to knock your pick, but I kind of look at Clay and Peterson in the same way. I think they're both like really solid innings eater guys. You know exactly what you're getting from them throughout the season. That's not a bad thing. You need those guys to be a competitive team to get through the season. You need those kind of guys you could trust. And I think Senga and Mania definitely have shown like that elite upside. But listen, if Clay turns on another gear, new pitch, whatever it might be, lowers the whip, gets more strikeouts, he can definitely do that too.
no,
Okay.
I was gonna say I think with Clay too. Again, it's he was stretched out last year. Like they were stretching him out last year. So a year with that under his belt, I think that expecting him to be a little bit better this season, and he wasn't bad last year, you know. So I think
He was awesome.
expecting him to be a little bit better this season is not a ridiculous idea. But yeah, I mean, you guys, I think if we're talking about ceilings and floor, I probably picked the higher floor, and you guys picked the higher ceiling. So I think that's definitely
Mhm.
a fair assessment.
All right. I would say my counterpoint to Mark's point, I feel like I look at him a little similarly to Seth Lugo, was the guy who was a reliever for a while, then got put into a rotation. And year to year, as he kept doing it more, he just kept getting a little better and a little better. I would like to think Clay Holmes, being optimistic, I would like to think Clay Holmes having a year under his belt as a starting pitcher, you can see something similar. I'm pretty sure I read the other day he did add a pitch to his repertoire that he hasn't used since he was like starting in the minors. So you said maybe new pitch. There you go. That's one thing that he might have in his tool bag this year.
If he does exactly what he did last year, next year, that'd be outstanding. I sign up for that right now. He
Mhm.
was like 167 innings of a mid threes ERA. He was everything the Mets could have asked for and more. Mhm.
It is cool that there is a lot of upside to that's really what the Mets are selling you on this year. They have some solid guys, but we don't know. Like if all these guys reach their full potential, this could be a really great season for the Mets, right?
They have a lot of depth. We just talked about a bunch of different names, and I think we made a good case for all of them. I think truly, I think any of those three guys plus David Peterson plus Jonathan plus Christian Scott could all easily be this third guy. So that's super exciting. That's probably it for us here. I don't think there's a whole lot more to talk about. Does anyone have anything else?
I just want to say I love Christian Scott. I didn't get any chance to mention him before, but I love him. He's awesome. So
He's of course
I'm
healthy
excited to see him
now.
back. He's looked good in the spring too. His time in the minors, like again, when I see guys in Brooklyn, that's obviously it gives me a little bias towards them, but like he was dominant there. He was throwing upper 90s and it was like pinpoint location too. Like he's a guy he just fills the strike zone. He doesn't walk guys when he's throwing with like this upper 90s and like a big curveball. So I'm excited to see him back on the mound. Probably no one thinks of it because he only had a handful of major league starts, but he was a guy that was definitely missed all of last year.
He was a big time prospect too. I feel like people forget about that, where he only came up for a couple starts, but he was being talked about as like the next
Yeah, he
DeGrom,
shot up in
Syndergaard.
20,
Like he was a high echelon prospect.
yeah, 23. He started 23 as like a nothing prospect. And he was so good. He was like their top prospect by the end of that year. He was just dominant every start.
I think he's going to have an important role. I think he's going to pitch important innings for this team this year. All right, we're going to end it there. We'll make a video probably before opening day to talk about some fun Met stuff, but
We're getting there. We're almost there.
Mhm.
we're getting there about 2 weeks out.
Yep.
Thank you for watching. Have a great night.
Let's go Mets.